Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings. How are you all? This is another Tuesday night, and I am so glad to be here with you. It's the night that we try to come on Tuesdays to do our Bible study, Bible lesson with you all. Shout out to every last one of you. I want to say shout out to Brother Harold Ferguson, who has gotten this shirt as a gift to me. It says the Israel of God Bible Study Class. I love this shirt, and I thought I would wear it tonight to come on live with you. Yes, we are coming live out of our home studio here in Fort Lauderdale, and we are the Israel of God Bible Study Class, Fort Lauderdale, in the city of Tamarack, Florida. Let's do that. Yes, Tamarack, Florida. You know, we are officially at our new location at 7875 West McNabb Road in the city of Tamarack. We are settling in very well. Still a lot of work to do, have a lot of work to do, but the class is done, the dining hall is done, but we have so much other things to do. I want to say shout out to Brother Victor Velasquez. And the reason why I want to say shout out to Brother Victor Velasquez, his company gave us a lot of equipment, brothers and sisters. I'm talking about $30,000-$40,000 worth of equipment. We are going to outfit our choir classroom. We're going to also use it as a Q&A classroom. Well, I can't say the Q&A classroom. Everybody likes Q&A being in the social hall because after they eat, they get to sit there, stay at the tables. But this is just another room that we have, and I mean, they did well. They did well in the things that they outfitted us with, and they wanted to do that, being that we moved into a new location, and there is another company. Shout out to Brother Dave. Brother Dave provided some flooring in our meeting room. We have a little hall that you go into before you go into the classroom. He did the flooring in there. Shout out to him. We have so much other stuff to do, and people are really finding out locally what we're doing, and they're just really coming in and just want to be a part of what we're doing at the Israel of God. Shout out to the Israel of God and all of the Board of Elders and all of the teachers everywhere and readers. Brothers and sisters, there are some people that just work hard, and then there are some people who just work hard. And I could say the teachers and the readers and the Israel of God traveling all across the world, literally across the world, every Sabbath to get this word out, ensuring that this gospel is being taught throughout the four corners of the earth, to every nation. And we have some brothers that relentlessly do the job every week. Shout out to our senior pastor, Henry Boone. Let me tell you, I believe Pastor Bowie is 84 years old. He still travels, still gets on the airplanes, he still gets in the vans, he still goes, as well as teaching there locally at the Chicago Riverdale class. Brothers and sisters, the energy that he has, the enthusiasm that he has, just to continue to do this word is awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, Let's get into this lesson tonight. You know how we do it. This lesson is talking about the covenant agreement between God and Israel. But before we get into our lesson, we're going to go and read our scripture reading from the book of Psalms, Psalms 111 and verse 10. You know what it says. We read it every week, Psalms 111, verse 10. And it says, brothers and sisters, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. Shout out to those that are in the shout room. Shout out to our first moderator, Brother Drake Middleton. How you doing, Brother Drake? Sister Sabrina Flowers. How are you doing, my sister? Up in Riverdale, Sister Sabrina. How you doing, Sister Ebony? First on Facebook. Yes, we are live on Facebook. How you doing, Sister Latoya Moore? How you doing? Over there in Waycross, Georgia. That's where she's at. How you doing, Sister Latoya? Thank you for tuning in as well. As you all come on in, hit that thumbs up when you come in so we can build up the algorithm, and let's get this lesson going. Tonight, we're talking about the covenant agreement between God and Israel. Between God and Israel. You know, God chose the people. Not because they were the greatest, because they were the least among them all. God chose a people through a covenant that was given down through Abraham, that he would be a father of a nation, and that nation would be a light to the people. And brothers and sisters, Israel is that nation who is a kingdom of priests, a kingdom of teachers, who was supposed to enter into a covenant agreement, and their job was to take this knowledge to the nations. That's what their job was. But instead of Israel taking the light to the nations, they left the covenant agreement and they started to follow the nations instead of being a leader to the nations. So tonight, we're just going to get into that agreement. We're going to get into what that agreement was all about. And we're going to start off in the book of Exodus, the 19th chapter. We're just going to talk about that agreement tonight because it's a wonderful agreement. But let's go into the history of that agreement that God entered into with Israel. Now, you know, we teach from the scriptures that we are scattered Israel. Those that came over we know those that came through the transatlantic slave trade, and those that some did not come through the transatlantic slave trade. But we know Judah, those tribes of Judah. We know that we did, and there's others that were scattered throughout the other areas, have been scattered because of the broken covenant that they did with God. And God had warned them that if you don't do this agreement, if you don't keep this agreement, there will be a penalty. We're going to get into some of that tonight. But this agreement was entered into with Israel. Academically, brothers and sisters, we are the only people in the continent, in the history of the world, that fits all of the criteria. Yeah, there have been people that have been taken into slavery. Yeah, there have been people who have been sold into slavery. But never before has there ever been a people that has entered into a covenant agreement with God, that has broke the agreement, that has been put on ships and scattered among all the nations and sold, their children sold, and their wives taken by another. That all of the criteria, All of those things have to happen in order to identify who Israel is. So that's not what this lesson is tonight, but it's just about the agreement itself. So let's go over to Exodus, the 19th chapter, and we're going to enter this. We're going to start off with verse number 4. Verse number 4. Let's look at this agreement that the children of Israel entered into. And this is what it says. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. See, that's another criteria. We know who the people are that was in Egypt, that was in bondage. You can trace those people all the way. You can know who they are today. Now, therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, that's a covenant is an agreement, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. You know, some people say, isn't everybody God's people? Yes, everybody's God's people. But Israel is a peculiar treasure above all people. And what all people must do is they must sojourn with Israel. They must sojourn with Israel, meaning when you sojourn with somebody, you're giving up your culture, you're giving up your practices, you're giving up your ways, and you are sojourning with Israel. The words that the Lord gave to Israel, you're going to sojourn with that. You're going to leave all of the customs and practices and the idolatry that existed maybe among your nations, and you're going to join what Israel does. So he says, now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Listen to what he says in verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. Everybody should know these statutes. Everybody that's Israel. You can just, they were intended to know this thing so well because God has given them an agreement that they would teach their children and their children's children. And we're going to find out the intent of that, how God wanted the other nations to see Israel. We're going to get into that in this lessons. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. That's one, nation. You will be a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. That was a covenant agreement, brothers and sisters. And let's go over to Exodus, the 24th chapter. Exodus, the 24th chapter, because it doesn't end there. When you look at how this thing unfolded and what it was intended to do, Exodus, the 24th chapter, and God speaks to them and continues the extension of this agreement. Verse 3 says, and Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord hath said, we will do. We're not going to get into Exodus, the 20th chapter, but those are the terms of the agreement. But I want you to know that after Moses went up to Mount Sinai, and after Moses had that talk, and he brought the people around the mountain, and the people of Israel saw thunder and lightning and smoke and trumpets blowing. They got the agreement, but then they said, Moses, we don't want to ever experience that again. So let God talk to you, and you come and talk to us. And that's what they requested, because that was a horrifying experience to see this thunder and this lightning and this thunder and these trumpets blowing when God revealed himself to the children of Israel. In fact, the book of Amos says, no other nation. Let's go over there to the book of Amos, then we're going to come back over to this and continue to read this. Amos, the 3rd chapter. Listen to what it says here. Amos, the 3rd chapter, verse number 2. Listen to what it says. Let's start verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. I'm not going to get into the last part. I just want to cherry pick that sentence right there. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Let's go back to the book of Exodus. And that's because no other nation has ever had that opportunity to hear the thunder, the lightning, the smoke, and the trumpets blowing, and to be able to have that experience. And God entered that agreement with them to make them a peculiar people above all people of the earth. Isn't that what we just read? If you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. You're going to be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. So that's what Israel had the opportunity. That's who Israel is. Moses came and told the people all the words. We're jumping back to Exodus 24th chapter, verse 3. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, listen to what they said. Here is that they are now entering into the agreement, the covenant. They're entering into it. A covenant or an agreement has to be between two or more parties, two people, between two corporations. It has to be two parties. In this case, it was God and Israel. And they said, all the words which the Lord hath said we would do. That's what they said. Let's continue to read that. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. He took the book that was written, that had the terms of the agreement. Listen to this. He took the book of the covenant, which had the terms of the agreement, and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord hath said we will do and be obedient. Brothers and sisters, that is an agreement. But listen to this. It was sealed. Listen to this. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Hence, Israel entered into a blood covenant agreement. You can't get out of this. You cannot change this. Once you make a vow unto the Lord, you cannot get out of it. It's best that you don't even make a vow. It's best you just do what the Lord say do. Israel entered into a blood covenant agreement. There was terms in that agreement that they liked. There was things in there that they said, man, this is going to be good. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy, because, sometimes, You know, when we leave that car lot, we love that car. We love the way it rides. We got into it. We went to a test ride. We love it, you know. But there's a term to that, and it comes with a payment that has to be made every month. Sometimes for 48 months, sometimes for 62 months, sometimes for 72 months. But that's the terms of the agreement. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, and let's continue to explore this agreement that the children of Israel entered into. Listen to this. This is what it says. Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, and for to do them, that ye may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you. Now, listen to what he says in verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. That's what you got to do. I want you to keep this covenant agreement. I don't want you to diminish from it. I don't want you to do anything different. Verse 5, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord my God commanded me, because Moses was doing what the children of Israel asked. Let the Lord tell you, you come and tell us. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whether you go in to possess. Keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom. Listen to this. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. This is your wisdom and your understanding. Notice at the beginning of the lesson we read from Psalms 111, verse 10. And remember the passage that says, a good understanding have all they that do his commandments, right? So he says, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes, these other nations that you're supposed to be a light to, these other nations that you're supposed to be a holy nation to, that you would have laws and statutes that the other nations will look at you and say, wow, look at such a holy people. Listen to this. For this shall be your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That, brothers and sisters, is what other nations should be saying if Israel did not break the covenant. They should be saying, this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Why? Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? What nation, brothers and sisters? None. The other nations are celebrating and the creation. They're worshiping the creation instead of the creator. Nations were worshiping the sun, the moon, the stars, the fish, making graven images. They were worshiping the creation that the creator created. But that's not the way it was supposed to be. You're supposed to be worshiping the creator. What nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this nation which I set before thee this day? And this is what you were supposed to do in verse number 9. Only take heed to thyself, and to keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. Don't forget them. You want to keep them here. And what else are we supposed to do? When we do them, we're supposed to pass them down from one generation to the next. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth. Wow. And that they may teach their children. The reason why the Lord wanted them to have this dramatic experience is because they would never forget it. They would never forget the lightning, the thunder, the smoke and the trumpets and all of those things. They would never forget it, that they were supposed to pass this down, pass that experience down from one generation to the next. Sometimes I remember my father telling me things that his father shared with him. And I remember my father telling me experiences that he had. I remember telling my children, my daughters, some of the experience that my father encountered. And let me tell you, it was just, some of it was just sad information that I would never forget, because when my father told the story, it just was, man, it was just horrible. It was saddening to me. I remember he told me at the age of 13 that they were living in a place called Clintonville, Kentucky, a little small area, farm area, and that there was really not enough food to feed everybody, having 12, 13 siblings, that at the age of 13, he went out to work, and how he would send money back home. He worked with horses coming down to Florida, coming down to Calder Racetrack and Gulfstream Racetrack. And I remember him telling me that he remember leaving, that his mother was sick. His father had already passed away. He came down and he got a letter. And they sent, when his mother died, they sent a letter, and his boss, they came, and the white boss gave him a letter and says, Robert, I got a letter. And everybody would get their mail. They would send it ahead of time, because it would take days when you're traveling with horses to get, they would stop in different cities and feed the horses, walk the horses, bringing them down for the races. So when he got the letter, he opens up this letter, he gets from home, he opens it up, and man, it's from the family, and he reads it, and they tell him, Mama is dead. Mama died. And being 13 years old, to read that letter, he had to walk out, go into the back of the barn. He looked at it again. He cried. He had to wipe his tears. And the man came on and said, Robert, put that letter away. Come on, let's go. I need you to walk these horses. Just like that. 13 years old. That was sad to me. I could not imagine being 13 years old, away, working. You can't go home. There was no telephone to call anybody. There was no cell phone. There was no email. There was no social media. When you get home, when you finish that job, you couldn't go tell the boss, well, I need to go home. I want to go home. No, his news was, Mama is dead. Now that was still to this day, I just, it's just how they endured things like that was just amazing to me. Sad. You just got to keep going. Then when he got home, his mother had already, for weeks, had been buried. The only thing he could do was just, this Mama's gone, cry, that's it. So could you imagine the children of Israel hearing lightning and thunder and all of this. They've never, ever experienced that. It was so dramatic. They never, ever wanted to deal with that again. They were supposed to pass that down, that information, from one generation to the next. And just like my father told me that story, I was probably 16 years old when he told me that story. And here we are years later, and it is as traumatic when I think about it as it was the first day that I heard it. And I share that story with my children just to simply be grateful and thankful for technology and the things that we have today, and the fact that children don't leave the house until they're almost 25 years old today. So just to be grateful and thankful. But that I share that with them to let them know how to be thankful. So if I remember that story, we were supposed to remember the story that our forefathers should have been passing down to us. But they didn't. They didn't do it, brothers and sisters. They went whoring after other nations. Instead of being the light, they started to whore after other nations. So gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And he says here, and ye came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thickness. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. I'm sorry, I didn't have that on the screen there. Here we go. And the Lord came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. I want you to look at that. I want you to look at the experience that they were supposed to always remember. Let's continue to read that. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you the statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whether you go in to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb, out of the midst of the fires. So, brothers and sisters, the children of Israel saw this. They saw this, and they just didn't continue to do it. Let's jump over. Let's jump over to the 5th chapter. 5th chapter. We're just continuing with that agreement was the 5th chapter. And let's pick it up in verse number 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, hear, O Israel. I say today, brothers and sisters, how do we hear the voice of the Lord? How do we hear what the Lord wants us to do? By reading his word. Read that word. Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep them and do them. For the Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. He made a covenant. That's what he did. Listen to this. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us who are all of us here alive this day. Wow. the Lord talk with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to show you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mountain, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above or that is in the earth beneath. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. Yes, brothers and sisters, remember those commandments. Remember them. One thing that I do here locally at the Israel of God here in Fort Lauderdale is I make sure, and I'm sure we do it all over, we encourage that in all of the Israel of Gods, because Pastor Bowie has us read that before we start the lesson. Read the law. Read it. And brothers and sisters, I encourage you to memorize it. Let it be written here in the heart of your mind. Let it be written there. All right? Now, there were blessings and curses in that agreement that they had. Let's go over there and look at that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. This is where a lot of haters hate for us to go at. They say, I'm tired of hearing Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, where y'all got put on chips. That's all y'all got. No, brothers and sisters, it's in the book. I can't help it that the Lord says, I'm going to make you a peculiar people, a holy nation. I can't help it because the Lord said, I picked you above all the nations of the earth. I can't help it because Amos the prophet said, no other nation has ever had this experience but you. It is what it is. But we were supposed to be a kingdom of priests that was supposed to teach other nations. And we failed the assignment. Listen to this. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. Listen to what it says. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. I'm not going to get into all the blessings, but read that on your own in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And he says, you're going to be blessed in the city, blessed in the field. Whatever your hands touch is going to be touched. The fruit of your womb, which is your children, throughout one generation, all of that's going to be blessed. You're going to be the head and not the tail. You're going to be a lender and not the borrower. It goes on and on. Read that on your own. But let's go down to verse number 15, because this is also important in the agreement. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. This is like in your car payment, in the terms of your agreement when you buy a car. If you don't make the car payments, the bank has the right to repossess, take back everything that belongs to them, because they're the real owner until you pay it off. It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Read the rest of it on your own. But he negated all the blessings. He reversed them if you don't listen. So that's right, Sister Marty. If. It's a big little word. It's a big little word. If. But then the Lord told us what he was going to do. One of the things that we got to bring out, we have to bring this out. The Lord said it. He's going to do it, right? He talked about, I'm going to sell your children. He goes over into Leviticus 26th chapter. He talked about what he was going to do over there. All of these things he said he was going to bring upon the children of Israel. Excuse me. But one of the things I want to bring out is this, because there's a lot of stuff in here. And I'm not going to read them all, but I can tell you, although a lot of people have gone into slavery, none of them but Israel, but us, can you link to everything. It has to be everything. But listen to this. I'm going to get down to it. Y'all already know I'm going to go right there. I'm going to go right there, right down to it. Listen to what he says. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt. That's bondage. They didn't need a ship to get into Egypt if they were already there in the land. He says, no, I'm going to bring you into bondage again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Somebody asked me, well, why does he say that you're going to be sold, but nobody's going to buy you? Weren't we bought? Yes. What it means is that no man will buy you. Nobody's going to redeem you. Nobody's going to get you out of this. Nobody's going to help you get out of the mess that we're in, because whom the Lord is blessed, nobody can curse. And whom the Lord is cursed, nobody can bless. So nobody can get us out of this. Martin Luther King couldn't do it. Malcolm X couldn't do it. Marcus Garvey couldn't do it. Malcolm X couldn't do it. Jesse Jackson couldn't do it. Nobody. Barack Obama became president. I believe he was a Hamite, but that's another thing. But it doesn't matter. Nobody could get you out of that. Nobody would redeem you from this curse. Nobody, brothers and sisters. We have to wait till that time. We got to serve the sentence. That's what we have to do. Let's go and look at all of these things. So all of these things came upon us. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Book of Psalms, because it's over there too in the book of Psalms. And let's go read what happened. And in particular, I want to go to Psalm 78. Psalms 78. And what he says is, Psalm 78. He says, give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which ye have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. All right, so hear these words. Hear these words which the Lord gave to us. I want to skip down to verse number 10. That's number 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel. Jacob is Israel. That's just how the Lord talks. Jacob is Israel. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and they are the children of Israel, children of Jacob, Jacobites, Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should raise and declare them to their children. That's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to hear that horrible story, that story that was traumatic to them. That story that caused what do they call it, PSTD, post-stress traumatic disorder. They should have never forgotten. Every time they heard lightning, they should have been shaken. Every time that there was an earthquake, they should have been just like, trembling. They should have never forgotten that. They're supposed to pass that down to their children, and it as My father shared that sad story with me, and as I share it with my children, sometimes I think about it. I remember I was telling one of my daughters about it, and I get a little teary-eyed because I think about what my father, wow, my father was such a kind man. What a horrible experience. What a way to be told that your mother is dead. And come on, Robert, put that letter away. You got work to do. You got to suck it up. 13 years old. Wow. This should have been the way it was for the children of Israel, that they should have told that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. But might not be as their fathers, who was what? A rebellion, who was stubborn and rebellious generation. A generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast on God, whose mind was steadfast on God. That story, that experience at Mount Horeb should have been petrified. You should have remembered it so vividly that you didn't even want to experience that anymore. That's what you should have done. But listen to this, verse number 10. They kept not the covenant of God and refused to walk in his law. Wow. And forgot his works, his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things he did in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zon. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through. They were supposed to talk about that experience, and it was supposed to be passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. They should have been saying, man, we were walking. Pharaoh's army was coming against us. We didn't know which way to go. We didn't know what we were going to do. And Moses lifted up his rod and said, stand still and see the salvation. And the ocean opened up, and there was 2 walls of water, and we walked across on the dry sand floor. That, brothers and sisters, was supposed to be passed down from one generation to the next. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through. He made the waters to stand as an heap. Wow. Let's go down to verse 37. Y'all can read some of this on your own, but verse 37. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues. For their heart, their mind was not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. Brothers and sisters, that's pretty deep. That's our forefathers. Let's jump over to Psalms 89. I'll stick this in here. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity and destroyed them not. Yea, many a time turned he his anger away and did not stir up all his wrath. See, this is why the children of Israel says the Israel homeborn slave. They went from captivity to captivity to captivity, God trying to get them to listen. Let's go over to Psalms 89. Psalms 89. The covenant that God had with his people. Psalms 89. Psalms 89. Verse 3, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant. And what did he tell David his servant? Thy seed will I establish forever, and build up thy throne to all generations. Selah. That's what he said he was going to do. Skip down to verse number 28. Listen to what it says. My mercy will I keep for him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand steadfast for him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne all the days of heaven. If his children forsake my law, and walk not in my statutes, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgressions with the rod, and their iniquity with stripes. Listen to what he says. Nevertheless, even though I'm going to do that, nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that has gone out of my lips. Because, brothers and sisters, we serve a merciful God. That's who he is. He's a merciful God. And what he's done is Solomon knew when he was dedicating the temple. Solomon knew. Solomon, being a prophet, being a wise man, he knew that we weren't going to do right. He knew that we weren't going to act right. When he was praying and dedicating the temple, he says, and when you are scattered, because you will be, because you won't listen, because he knew he was dealing with a hard-hearted, stiff-necked, stubborn people. They're happy now because they're dedicating the temple, but he already knew. The Lord showed him. And he says, and when you are scattered, because when you refuse to do what the Lord say do, when you are scattered, and when you get to the land where you have been scattered, in the land of your enemies, when you bethink yourselves, when you come to your mind, when you come to your senses. And brothers and sisters, we are that remnant today that have been scattered. We're coming to our senses. We're coming to the knowledge of who we are and what God intended for us to be. We're bethinking ourselves, and we're returning back. We are returning back to the covenant of the agreement, the statutes, the judgments, and the commandments that the Lord gave to our forefathers. We are returning back to them. We are bethinking ourselves in the land where we have been led captive, and we're facing Jerusalem, and we're praying that the Lord will hear us. And then he says, and if the people who are not his people, even the people who are not his people, because they see what is coming upon us and what is mercy that's given to us after we bethink ourselves, even if they who are not his people will do the same thing, he will be their God too. Wow. That is deep, brothers and sisters. Read that prayer that David was doing. Let's go to Psalms 105. Psalms 105. Let's continue to look at this. I hope y'all getting something out of this lesson today. Psalms 105. And we're going to just read verse 1. Oh, give thanks. Oh, give thanks. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him. Sing psalms unto him. Take ye all of his wondrous works. I want to skip down to verse number 8. Let's start off with verse number 6. O ye seed of Abraham his servant, ye children of Jacob his chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered his covenant forever. You know one thing about the Lord God, he always remembers. He's always full of mercy. He's always full of just forgiveness. He always has been. All we have to do is return unto him, and he will return unto us. That's why he says in Malachi, return unto me, and I'll return unto you. That's what we have to do. If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways and seek his face, he will hear. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath with Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. Wow, brothers and sisters. This is our lesson tonight. This is our lesson tonight. This is just it, just so you could remember the covenant agreement that God entered into with Israel. The covenant agreement. The arrangement. Let's not forget it. Although we have been scattered, although we're in a land where we have been led captive, although we're in a place wherever we are in the world, wherever Israel is scattered, if we just bethink ourselves, get back to these laws, statutes, and judgments and ordinances that God wants us to do, get back to that covenant agreement so God can do what he said he was going to do. Amen. So we thank you all for tuning in tonight. This week at 7875 West McNabb Road. Come on in, joining us. We'll be tuning in to Senior Pastor Henry Boyer. I understand he has a good lesson coming up this week. So we're going to be tuning in as all of the Israel of God's throughout the world. We're going to be tuning in. We're going to be on one accord. We're going to be hearing that monthly message that comes from our senior pastor. Shout out to Senior Pastor Henry Boyer for the work, brothers and sisters, that he's doing. And I pray that as all the teachers do, that we could just learn from leadership to continue the work, and that we could continue to do what the Lord says do. All of you all that are on Facebook, shout out to you. All of you that are on YouTube, shout out to you. Peace and blessings to you, and we'll see you soon. And as we always say, brothers and sisters, let the words of your mouth and the meditation of our hearts always let it be acceptable in our sight. The Lord be our strength and our Redeemer. In Jesus' name. Brothers and sisters, our email is Fort Lauderdale at the Israel of God. I'm looking for my mouse so I could find how to end this thing. There it is. Our email is the Fort Lauderdale, not the Fort Lauderdale, just simply Fort Lauderdale, F-O-R-T, Fort Lauderdale at theisraelofgod.com. Let me give you this special announcement. If you're going to be on that cruise in November, I know you all be coming to Fort Lauderdale. I know that there was a discussion with us about getting the T-shirts. I think that's still the plan. But if you all come that Sabbath and be with us, we plan on the local membership is donating funds, and we're going to put on a social for you all that Saturday night. We're going to have live music. We're going to have food right there on the site. We're going to have a great time. Similar to what they did at the We Are One conference. Just like that. We're going to have live music. We're going to have food. We're just going to have a great time right here in Fort Lauderdale. So that's the weekend of the cruise. So come on. Even if you're not going on the cruise, you might decide to come in town that weekend just to be a part of the social, to give those that are going on the cruise a kickoff. So that's going to be the first Sabbath in November. That's something that we're doing locally for those that are going on the cruise. So just want to pass the word, pass the word. All right, brothers and sisters, peace and blessings to you, and have a good night.